What's up, degenerates? Mad Murrigan here for Cold Bear Sports, and once again I am joined by none other than one of the shrewdest pundits in the game, Mr. Nigel Seeley. Nigel, how's things?
I'm good, Paddy. I'm good. I thought we were going to land a nice 33-1 winner with 𝗵𝘃 yesterday. Yeah. I thought I was going to have to. I thought it's. I'll be having 𝗵𝘃 and mash after the 𝗵𝘃 and chips after the hat trick. But he only got the one goal. But if anyone took the odds against, it was 6-5 to score one goal. You made the money. If you took him to score the first goal, it was 9-2. So hopefully that was someone took the advantage of that. But yeah, I thought we were going to get the lot, but not to be.
Well, look, you were nearly on it because he did have, although he didn't score the next two goals, he did have something to do with them, and he got the assist on both. So indirectly, he had his 3 goals.
Can I try that? Can I try that down the bookies? So they play
but you know what? We could go in and say, could you allow us? We'll take a little bit shorter. We'll take 16s on it then. But no, really, really good. Right. Anyway, and Sweden. Let's just mention Sweden. They were a nice price. They got the win as well, so that was definitely an interesting one. Right.
Denmark, Paddy. Denmark won as well. And Denmark, our tip 28-1 went out to about 250-1.
No, yeah.
And then 20-1 to win it through to the last 16 against Wales. Big favourites to win that. Should be in the quarterfinals.
It'd be nice if they can go the whole way for you, John, at big odds. Right. A new day brings a new challenge. Croatia versus the Scots, Czech Republic versus England. What are you thinking, Nigel? England not as dominant against Scotland as one hoped. What are you thinking today?
Well, we'll come on to the England game in a bit, but let's start with the Scotland game. Scotland obviously playing Croatia. Two sides that if they win, whoever wins this game will get through to the knockout stages. First time ever for Scotland in the knockout stages of a second tournament of a major football championship. The old joke was what you call a Scotsman in the second round of a major football tournament, and they say a referee. But the thing is here with Scotland is that they've got to do a couple of things. They've got to play this game without their best player, Billy Gilmour, who was man of the match against England, and rightly so, the Chelsea midfielder, who's who's been tested positive for COVID-19. And I did say to you, didn't I, that COVID-19 is going to play a big part in this tournament. Players are going to go down. They said that a lot of anyone who's been in close proximity to Billy Gilmour over the last few days, they needed to be tested as well. So that rules out the whole of England midfield from Friday because they were nowhere near the kid. But let's have a look at this Scotland game though. It's going to be a winner takes all. So the one thing that we could probably rule out is the draw, because the draw is not going to be an important result for anybody. The first half I expect to be very cagey, like a lot of these games are in the first half. I expect none of these two sides really to show their ace card in the first half, because if they go 1 or 2-0 down, then they've got a big uphill class. Croatia are the favourites. They were 11-8 because of Billy Gilmour. They've now been backed into around about 5-4 missing. So there's been a bit of money for Croatia. But obviously Scotland are at home. I know it didn't help them against the Czech Republic, but I think that the support they get against an ageing Croatia side, who aren't very good, let's bear that in mind. I think they've got a better chance at 11-5 than we suggest. But I think the angle here is a very different angle that I've approached on the betting. A little bit of a special bet on it. Bookies are offering which half will see the most goals. And I think 11-10, the second half to see the most goals, is a cracking bet. Because I think the second half, if the score's 0-0 and both sides have to win, it'll be like a basketball game. They'll go all out. None of them will really want to show their card for the first 20 minutes, but the second half could be all over the place. And obviously that brings in cards, that brings in goals as well. So I think this is definitely going to be a game of two halves. I think the first half is going to be edgy, and the second half, if it's drawing, I think, or even if Scotland are trading, or even if Croatia are trading, they have to throw everything at that second half. So I think look for angles in the second half, look for bets in play on the second half. If the game is 0-0 at half time, bet over 1.5 goals in the second half. If there's no bookings in the first half, bet over 2.5 bookings in the second half, because I think the second half, given the nature of the game, will be a very, very entertaining watch. What I'm going to do, Paddy, is the missus wants a nice new top tonight. So there's late night shopping. I'm going to go down there have a couple of pints in the pub, and come back and turn it on at 8:45 for the second half. Forget the first half.
Sounds good. It's definitely an interesting game, and how nice would it be to see Scotland getting it done? And as you said, Croatia just not as strong as they once were. Definitely a few years ago they looked at a much better side. But anyway, let's move on. So England versus Czech Republic. What is you thinking? What is the feel? You were very confident the last day. Didn't just go England's way. As always, they always hype the job, but they just never seem to show the potential that is definitely within the squad.
Well, my first, I didn't think they would win easy. I did say they'd probably win 1 or 2-0 and get the job done. I didn't expect England to win in easy, because England don't do anything easy in major football tournaments. I just think that everyone has hyped up England, including myself, as an attacking threat. And they've been absolutely dreadful as an attacking threat. I mean, they've only had 3 shots on target. Harry Kane, I mean, he does it fit absolutely all over the place. And the thing is for that England game is you can give someone like 4 players or 3 players in the team having a bad game. You know, if Harry Kane has a bad game, if Sterling has a bad game, if Foden has a bad game, you can accept 3 of them. But 10 of those outfield players are absolutely useless in that game. The only one who I thought played well was the goalkeeper, and I think I always thought he was the weakest link in this England side. The other thing is the fact that the substitutions. I mean, the substitutions that we made were dreadful. I mean, Southgate didn't bring on Sancho. He took Kane off and brought on Rashford, which is, I think, you know, however fit Kane is, you still want him in the team because he's the only goal threat. Foden coming off was ridiculous. And I just thought to myself, I wonder whether England really want to win the group, because if they don't win the group, they play Sweden, Slovakia, or I can't remember the other side. Sweden and Slovakia are one of those weaker sides. Or if they win the group, they potentially play France, Germany, or Portugal. And the only explanation I could think of was that they don't want to win the group. But the performance was so shit that I think
you couldn't even give them that.
But I think the performance was so shit that the English nation wants a performance tonight. So whatever the tactic was not to win the group, I think that England can't afford not to win this game, because the backlash on them will be immense. So I think he's going to make a wholesale changes. I can see Harry Maguire starting. I can see Sancho playing. I could see, well, we know Harry Kane's going to start. And I can see England really going for this game. The problem is both of these sides have qualified. You know, because of this third place malarkey, the intensity of the game is completely gone. So both sides have qualified. So there's nothing at all for either of them to play for, really, apart from the pride and to top the group. And I just think England will probably win it 1 or 2-0. Exactly similar kind of thing that I said about the Scotland game. But I think the best bet here is to bet under 3 bookings in the match, evens. Under 3, you can get, because I don't see the reason for a tackle. When anyone gets injured, they're going to miss out on the last 16 match. There's no intensity because both sides have qualified. So it's not like it's the Scotland game, Croatia game is going to be all ending. Everything's going to be going mad. But there's no reason for anybody really to go really all out to win this game, because both of them have gone through. So I think we've got to look for angles to get against sort of anything that make it a pulsating, a real end-to-end international. I think it might, you know, have its moments. There might be a couple of bits of class from England going forward if he makes the changes to the Grealish will probably play. But I think the best angle for betting, which eradicates any winner, you know, we don't have to sit here betting England. We don't have to sit here opposing England. But I think for any neutral or any Irishman there for a bet tonight, I think if you're betting under 3 yellow cards in this game, you won't go far wrong.
Yeah, definitely a game you'll be thinking that no man will be overdoing it. So look, sounds good on paper, around the even money mark. Definitely an interesting shout. Not a bet that we would be familiar, or certainly I wouldn't be familiar with searching for, but just showing your knowledge once again. Right, let's move on then to tomorrow, where we have a host of games. We have Slovakia versus Spain, Sweden, Poland, Germany, Hungary, Portugal and France. Any bet standing out here? A few interesting games, all the least. Anything a bit of value, Nigel? What's the best bet of this group?
Well, can we go Slovakia, Spain? Obviously, Spain have drawn both their games 1-1. Surprisingly, you know, Poland, and they've drawn against Sweden 0-0. I think they'll beat Slovakia. I mean, Slovakia for me are the worst side in the tournament. I know they scored 2 goals against Poland, but going forward they offer nothing, an attacking threat of 0. So I think Spain will win. I'm going to sneeze. Bless me, Paddy. I think
we won't edit out that. We'll get. Do you know what? I give the punters even money. He sneezes again 1-2. He doesn't. Right, we'll put it out there.
Well, I think Spain will win, but you're not going to get rich better than they're 1-6 or something like that. Spain to win this game. Slovakia are 20-1. Slovakia, I said, don't offer any goal threat at all. They scored 2 goals against Poland, but their expected goals in this competition, if you look at their chance they've created, is the worst in the competition. So I expect Spain. They had so much possession in those 2 matches, and they haven't done anything with it. But I think that Slovakia here could be lambs to the slaughter. I think the Spanish could really do a number on them. I like Spain -1.5 on the Asian handicap, but I think the best way to get with Spain, instead of betting them at 6 on or whatever they are, is to bet Spain to win to 0. So Spain 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0. That's 8-11. I think that's a decent bet. The other thing about it is 5 o'clock and it's in Seville. That's going to be hot. It's going to be very hot. 35, 36 degrees in Seville tomorrow. And the Slovakians will run out of legs in the latter stages. And with Spain just keeping the ball, passing it around them, it's going to be tiring. So I think Spain could run riot tomorrow. I expect Spain to win probably 3-0, 4-0, something like that. So the -1.5 and the win to 0 is the best bet. Sweden, Poland. Sweden have already qualified. Poland needs to win this game. They have to win. And it's no surprise to see that Poland are the favourites. I expect Sweden to rest a lot of players. Poland will have to go all out and attack. And I think that what we saw yesterday, we saw in these final games a bit more attackingness from the teams that needed to win. We saw 𝗵𝗃 score, which was great. And we also saw Lukaku score, which was great for us as well, because he's our tip to be the top goal scorer. And I think with Poland needing to win, there's only one man you've got to call on, Robert Lewandowski. He scored against Spain in a 1-1 draw, and he's 5-4 here to score any time. I think in a game that Poland have to win, he will take free kicks, he will take penalties. They'll be looking for him in every opportunity, and I expect the Swedes to make changes. So Lewandowski to score any time in that bet. And going on to the late games, we have Germany-Hungary. This one screams goals, absolutely screams goals to me. Germany, poor against the French, come back superbly well against Portugal. One of the best game of the tournament for me. From an attacking point of view, Germany were excellent. 𝗂𝗴𝗃𝗃, the Chelsea midfielder, was superb. And they've got to go and get a few goals here. And Hungary have to win this game. They have to win it to have any chance of qualifying. So if Hungary's taking it to Germany, and Germany on the back of scoring 4 goals, you've got to see goals in it. Germany are 1-5, rightly so, they're 1-5. But the angle is on over 2.5 goals, over 3.5 goals. Yeah, I think goals are definitely going to be on the menu. And Portugal, France, this is going to be the last game. So they will know, whoever comes runners-up in this group, they know they could place England. And I think from a betting point of view, I would like to leave this game until right at the last minute to see that what advantages anyone has of winning the game or finishing runner-up.
He wants to have to play for.
They're the last game of the last 6 of the group stages, and they'll know exactly who the winner will place. They'll exactly know who the runner-up will place, and they'll know exactly who they are in a draw. We won't know that yet until tomorrow. So for me, I will not have a bet on this game. But if I was probably looking at it now, logically, I think the draw would probably make some sense. But like I say, I'm not having a bet on that game until I find out what's happening and they know. So if the winners face someone like, I don't know, just off the top of my head, so it's the winners face Slovakia and the losers face England, well, you know the intensity is going to be on the team to really go out. But I think tactically, this is a very difficult one to call.
Yes, very interesting. You always never know. And as you said, you're pointing out a great thing there is it's what's actually left to play for, what suits them better, because no doubt every country, as we're saying, club or country, every country, our club in that matter, would do what's right for them in this situation. Right. Well, that wraps up the games today and tomorrow. And I'm sure Nigel will grace us with his presence when we get in through the weekend. And let's see what's kicking as we go to the knockout stages, or the playoffs, as you call them. Nigel, as always, thanks for your expertise. Just a quick word actually on the outright goal score market. How's that looking now? We have Lukaku got a couple, didn't he?
He got one last night. He's on 3 goals. He's the joint
On
top
3.
goal scorer. Yeah, he's got Ronaldo. Ronaldo's obviously got 3 as well, and a couple other players. A couple who's got 3. He's 5-2 now to be the top goal scorer, 11-4 with a couple of firms. But Ronaldo's got an extra game. So Ronaldo, but he's playing France. He's playing France. You wouldn't expect him to really be in for many goals there. But the other thing is obviously for Lukaku now, the route into the final is quite, or route later in the tournament is quite favourable. I mean, they've got to rather favourably draw, and so you would expect them to get a lot more goals rather than say Portugal, who might have to face England in the last 16. But yeah, Lukaku's favourite. France are still favourites for the tournament, despite what we've said. And my biggest bet, I think I told you, was Denmark and Belgium to finish 1st and 2nd in the group.
Yeah. How are we looking?
And they won. That won. They finished 1st and 2nd in the group.
I remember you said it was even money any order, was it?
Yeah. Any of that won last night, so we won on that. So we've got some good anti-post bets, but hopefully we have a good couple of days.
Look, I'm sure the degenerates enjoyed that, and I'm sure a lot of lads took note, because I get some Snapchats of some football bets, and everybody's happy anyway. That's all that matters.
I'll just give you a quick recap though, Paddy, of the best bets we've gone through.
Yeah, go on, run us through there, because the degenerates just want the monies.
This is the one we're going to get the Euros. Let me say where we're going to start. We're going to start off tonight, Croatia against Scotland, the second half to have the most goals. Forget the first half. Go down the pub with the lads. You're allowed to drink, have a few Guinnesses, watch the boys, take the missus out shopping, or take someone else's missus out shopping, and get back in the second half and watch the second half. More goals in the second half, Croatia, Scotland. On Wednesday, Spain are going to come to the party. We're going to bet Spain to win 2-0. They're going to win 3-4 in the Seville heat. I know I've lived with a couple of Irish guys in the south of Spain, as you know, and they get very burnt. So I think
very easily.
The vacuums are going to be very, very similar. And on the late game tomorrow, we're going to go for Germany and Hungary. We're going to get a goal fest over 3.5 goals. So 4 goals or more. We're going to get the money on that one.
Lovely job. Right, lads. I hope the degenerates enjoyed this. We'll have Nigel back again just before the weekend as we kick off the playoffs. Thanks a million, Nigel. As always, we appreciate it here at 𝐿𝐵 Sports.
Take care, Paddy. All the best, man. Have a good weekend.
Cheers, amigo.